You wake up in a soft bed, the room is warm, your phone is right beside you, notifications, dopamine, distractions, they all rush in to tell you, stay here, you're fine, don't push too hard today. And that right there is where most men lose the battle. Comfort is seductive. It whispers that you've earned a break, that you deserve rest, that you should take it easy. But what comfort doesn't tell you is that it's slowly killing your potential. Every time you choose comfort over challenge, you trade your greatness for mediocrity. You trade your future for a moment of ease. The truth is brutal. Comfort doesn't create kings, it creates followers, and the world already has enough of those. Every man who ever became powerful, rich, respected, or unstoppable first made a decision to walk through discomfort like it was nothing. He didn't wait to feel ready. He didn't wait for perfect timing. He moved when he was scared, when he was uncertain, when everything told him to stop. Because he knew something you still refuse to accept. Growth only happens when it hurts. When you're sweating, doubting, struggling, and still moving forward. That's the crucible where strong men are forged. And if you can't handle that fire, you'll spend your life warming your hands on someone else's success. Comfort disguises itself as peace. It tells you to relax, to chill, to be happy with what you have. But inside that comfort is decay. Inside that peace is rot. You start to shrink without even realizing it. You wake up later, you move slower, you talk less about your dreams and more about your problems. You start convincing yourself that maybe your goals were unrealistic, maybe your dreams were too big. No, they weren't too big, you just stopped fighting for them. You stopped choosing discomfort, and in doing so, you started dying slowly while still breathing. You want to know why men like Andrew Tate get up every day and chase pain, chase stress, chase risk? Because they understand that comfort is the silent enemy. They understand that the moment you stop challenging yourself, the world starts burying you under its noise. Greatness isn't given to those who rest. It's given to those who fight exhaustion, who confront boredom, who make discipline their companion even when motivation disappears. You don't need to love pain, you just need to love what it builds. The body you want, the business you dream of, the freedom you crave, all of it lies beyond the wall of comfort. Look at your life right now. Every goal you've failed to reach came down to a single decision. You chose comfort. You chose to stay in bed instead of getting up early. You chose to stay quiet instead of speaking up. You chose to watch others succeed instead of risking failure yourself. You chose to stay warm when you should have walked into the cold. That's how comfort wins. It convinces you that safety is success. But the truth is, safety is stagnation. You weren't born to survive, you were born to conquer. And here's what makes it dangerous: comfort doesn't attack you loudly. It kills you quietly. It doesn't destroy your life in a single day. It takes it piece by piece. One skipped workout, one wasted day, one ignored dream. And before you know it, years have passed. You look in the mirror and the fire in your eyes is gone. That's the price of comfort. You can't evolve if you keep protecting yourself from discomfort. Every time you step into pain, you step into progress. Every cold shower, every long day, every rejection, every moment that tests you, it's shaping you into something sharper, stronger, more capable. Greatness demands discomfort. It demands that you sacrifice what feels good now for what feels powerful later. So stop treating comfort like a reward. It's not a reward, it's a trap. The moment you stop chasing easy things is the moment your life begins to change. Every powerful man, every icon, every winner, they all learned how to suffer for something bigger than themselves. And that's what separates the strong from the weak. The weak seek comfort, the strong seek challenge. The weak look for shortcuts, the strong build endurance. The weak talk, the strong do. The world will never hand you greatness on a silver plate. You'll have to bleed for it, fight for it, risk everything for it. But the good news is, if you're willing to suffer, to embrace discomfort, to face the pain head on, then there's nothing in this world that can stop you. Because comfort builds nothing, but discomfort builds men who can build anything. Every man talks about wanting power, freedom, success, but the moment fear appears, they freeze. They start overthinking, making excuses, convincing themselves it's not the right time. Fear is the gatekeeper between the life you have and the life you want. It's not there to stop you, it's there to test you. Every man faces fear, but only the few who decide to walk through it ever taste greatness. The rest spend their lives hiding behind comfort, pretending they're waiting for the right opportunity. Let me tell you something, fear is the right opportunity. When you feel fear, that's not your mind telling you to stop. It's your soul telling you that you're on the edge of growth. It's life's way of asking, how badly do you want it? Fear separates the dreamers from the doers. It doesn't care what you say, it only watches what you do. When a challenge rises in front of you, when your hands shake and your heart races, that's the universe putting your character under a microscope. It's asking you, are you a man of excuses or are you a man of action? Because every risk, every bold move, every decision that changes your life starts with fear trying to talk you out of it. The difference between winners and losers is simple. Losers let fear dictate their choices, while winners let fear sharpen their focus. You can't eliminate fear. You can't meditate it away. You can't wish it gone. You confront it, you walk into it, and you learn to master it. Fear is a tool. It's raw energy. The same energy that makes you anxious can make you powerful if you learn to channel it. Fear is adrenaline. It's life. It reminds you that you're alive, that you're chasing something that matters. Because if you're not scared, you're not doing anything meaningful. You've got to understand, fear is not your enemy. Fear is your training partner. It's there to build your strength. Every time you face fear and act anyway, you gain control over it. The first time you speak up when your voice shakes, the first time you take a risk when you have no guarantee, the first time you walk into a fight you don't know you can win, that's when you become more than who you were yesterday. And that's how confidence is truly built. Not from comfort, not from compliments, but from confrontation. You've faced fear enough times, and one day, it starts fearing you. Most men run from fear because they've been trained to see it as weakness. But running from fear is the real weakness. Courage isn't about the absence of fear. It's about doing what's necessary despite it. You think warriors, athletes, billionaires, or leaders don't feel fear. They do. The difference is they've learned to use it as fuel. They've trained themselves to perform under pressure. They've looked fear in the face so many times that it became familiar. They know that fear is temporary, but regret is permanent. You've got two choices every time fear shows up. You can let it control you, or you can let it guide you. One path leads to stagnation, the other to strength. The man who listens to fear becomes smaller with every decision. The man who faces it grows beyond imagination. Because fear will try to convince you that failure will destroy you. But the truth is, fear of failure destroys more dreams than failure ever could. The only real failure is the man who never tried. Look at your life right now. Every major thing you want, freedom, money, respect, legacy, all of it is guarded by fear. You can't skip it. You can't hack it. You must walk straight through it. That's the price of evolution. Every level of life demands a new version of you, and every new version is born through fear. It's like fire. You either let it burn you or you use it to forge yourself. Most people wait to stop being scared before they take action. That's why they never move. But the truth is, fear fades after you move, not before. The only way to kill fear is to act faster than it can talk. Every time fear whispers, "What if?" you answer with "Watch me." Every time it says, "You're not ready," you say, "Neither was anyone else." Every time it tries to make you doubt, you use that doubt as the reason to go harder. Fear is not meant to paralyze you. It's meant to prepare you. It's the world's way of saying you're stepping into something significant. Weak men run, strong men rise. The choice is always yours. Because in the end, fear doesn't define you, how you respond to it does. Fear is the mirror that shows you who you truly are. When it stares at you, don't blink. Look right back and step forward, because that's where your next level begins. You sit there waiting to feel confident, waiting for the perfect moment, waiting for motivation to strike like lightning. You scroll through videos, read quotes, convince yourself that once you feel ready, then you'll act. But that day never comes, because confidence doesn't come before action. It's born from it. Every confident man you admire didn't start that way. He started uncertain, nervous, even scared, but he moved anyway. Confidence is not a gift, it's a muscle, and muscles only grow when they're used. You don't think your way into confidence. You fight your way into it through action. Most people think confidence is about believing in yourself before you do something. That's the biggest lie ever sold. Belief is built by doing. You become confident when you have evidence that you can handle what life throws at you. And that evidence only comes from taking action. You can read every book, watch every motivational video, talk yourself up in the mirror every morning. But if you don't move, none of it matters. Confidence isn't built in your head. It's built in motion. Think about it. The first time you tried anything new, driving, fighting, speaking, working out, you didn't feel confident. You felt awkward, unsure, maybe even terrified, but you still did it. You kept doing it until what once scared you became normal. That's how confidence grows, step by step, repetition by repetition. You can't think your way into power. You act your way into power. Every time you take action, even a small one, you prove to yourself that you're capable. And that proof becomes the foundation of confidence. People waste years chasing the illusion of readiness. They wait for everything to align, for fear to disappear, for perfect timing. That's why they stay stuck. Because perfection is just fear wearing a mask. The truth is, confidence isn't something you wait for. It's something you create by doing the hard things you don't want to do. The man who acts without confidence will eventually gain it. The man who waits to act until he feels confident never will. Action first, confidence later. That's the law of progress. You want to be confident in business. Start failing in business. You want to be confident in the gym. Go when you don't feel like it. You want to be confident in speaking. Speak even when your voice shakes. Every failure, every uncomfortable moment, every setback, it all builds a new layer of strength. Because when you act and survive, you prove to yourself that fear can't kill you. That's when you start becoming dangerous. That's when confidence turns from a dream into a habit. Confidence isn't loud. It's not arrogance. It's not pretending to be unshackable. It's quiet certainty built from repetition. It's the man who has been through enough storms to know he can handle another one. It's the fighter who's been hit so many times that he no longer fears the punch. It's the man who takes action every single day, not because he feels confident, but because he knows he's training it. The weak wait to feel strong. The strong act despite feeling weak. That's the difference. You can sit there planning forever, analyzing every possibility, or you can start moving. Movement is power. Every step forward, no matter how small, kills hesitation. The moment you start, you already separate yourself from 90% of people who are still waiting for permission. Confidence doesn't come from talking about what you'll do. It comes from doing what you said you would. You keep promises to yourself. You build trust with yourself, and that's where true confidence begins. Because when you act, your mind starts believing you're the type of person who does. That belief becomes unstoppable momentum. The world belongs to the men of action. The ones who move first, fail fast, and adjust. While others are debating if it's possible, they're already doing it. You don't need to be fearless. You just need to move one step faster than your doubt. The moment you do, your brain starts learning, I can handle this. That realization is the seed of confidence, and with every action, that seed grows. Before you know it, what once terrified you becomes effortless, so stop waiting to feel ready. Stop waiting to feel confident. Confidence will never appear in your comfort zone. It shows up only after you've earned it through movement. Action breeds clarity, clarity breeds strength, and strength breeds confidence. It's a cycle you control completely. The more you act, the more you believe in your ability to act. And that's how men are transformed, from hesitant to decisive, from doubtful to dominant. Because confidence doesn't come to those who sit still. It comes to those who move first, who dare first, who do first. Look around you. The world doesn't care about your potential, your good heart, or your intentions. It only cares about results. You can have all the dreams in the world, but if you're too afraid to move, you'll stay invisible. Boldness is the separator. The difference between the man who gets remembered and the man who gets ignored is simple. One dared to take a risk, the other made excuses. The truth is harsh, but it's real. Life doesn't reward the cautious, it rewards the bold. Every opportunity you've ever wanted is waiting, but it's guarded by fear and hesitation. And only the bold have the courage to step through. We live in a world where everyone talks, but very few act. Everyone says they want success, but the moment it requires risk, they fold. They say things like, "It's not the right time," or "What if I fail?" You know what that really means? It means they care more about comfort than winning. Excuses are the language of mediocrity. They sound smart, but they kill silently. The man who wins doesn't have fewer obstacles. He just refuses to let those obstacles stop him. He's bold enough to move when everyone else hesitates. Boldness isn't recklessness, it's conviction in motion. It's looking at the odds stacked against you and saying, I don't care. It's taking a step forward when logic tells you to stay still. The bold man doesn't wait for guarantees because he knows there are none. He understands that fortune doesn't favor the safe. It favors the ones who bet on themselves. Every great empire, every revolution, every success story started with someone who dared to move when others didn't. The world doesn't respect excuses. It respects execution. You can spend years explaining why you didn't do something and nobody will care. But the moment you take bold action, the world starts paying attention. Suddenly doors open. Opportunities appear and people start following you because boldness is magnetic. It commands respect. It tells the world that you're not just another talker, you're a door. And the moment you act with courage, the universe responds in ways you can't even predict. Think about it. Every man you admire had one thing in common. They took bold action when no one believed in them. They didn't ask for permission. They didn't wait for approval. They just moved. And because of that, they built momentum. You see, once you start taking bold action, momentum becomes your best friend. It carries you forward, it builds confidence, and it silences fear. But you only get momentum by stepping out of your comfort zone and taking that first risk. Excuses are addictive. Once you start making them, they multiply. You justify why you're stuck, why you're tired, why it's okay to delay. And before you know it, you've built a cage made of your own words. But boldness breaks that cage. It doesn't negotiate with fear. It attacks it. You might fail, you might get criticized, you might lose. But guess what? That's part of the process. The man who fails boldly learns faster than the man who never tries. Because every failure teaches you something that comfort never could. The world is run by the men who dare, the ones who walk into chaos and create order, the ones who see risk not as danger, but as opportunity. Safe men stay small because safety breeds stagnation. Bold men rise because risk breeds evolution. When you take bold action, you send a signal to yourself and to the world that you're ready to play at a higher level. That signal changes everything. It changes how people see you, how you see yourself, and how opportunities start finding you. You can live your whole life waiting for certainty, or you can step into uncertainty and create your own path. The difference is courage. Most people think boldness means not being scared. Wrong. Boldness means you're terrified, but you move anyway. It's the decision to walk into the storm because you know that staying still is a slower death. Every great story, every breakthrough moment, every victory was built on that 1 second of insane boldness where someone said, I'm doing it anyway. There's a hidden truth the world doesn't tell you. No one will ever believe in your dream more than you. If you don't take bold action for it, no one else will. The people who make history are not the smartest, not the strongest, not the most gifted. They're simply the ones who dared to take the leap when everyone else played it safe. Boldness is rare, and that's why it's valuable. It's the currency of greatness. The moment you decide to stop explaining, stop hesitating, and start acting, that's the moment everything begins to shift. Because the world doesn't owe you success, it owes you nothing. But it rewards the man who risks everything, the man who shows up, who makes noise, who takes the hit, who dares to be seen. That's the man the world bows to. That's the man who leaves a mark. And every time you choose boldness over excuses, you take one step closer to becoming him. Every man wants success. Every man wants power, wealth, and freedom. But very few are willing to build the structure that actually sustains it. Because without discipline, every risk you take turns into chaos. Discipline is what separates the dreamers from the achievers. It's what gives meaning to your hustle, direction to your ambition, and power to your risks. Discipline doesn't make life easier. It makes you stronger. It doesn't remove fear. It teaches you to act in spite of it. You can take every risk in the world, but if you're not disciplined, you'll lose everything as fast as you gained it. Discipline turns risk into reward. It's the multiplier that transforms action into achievement. Most men want to take shortcuts. They chase excitement instead of consistency. They want success to come quickly, easily, dramatically. But real success isn't built in a moment. It's built in the repetition of moments. It's built in the boring, in the routine, in the silent hours when no one is watching. Discipline is the invisible engine behind every victory. It's waking up when you don't feel like it. It's sticking to the plan even when it's painful. It's showing up when motivation is gone. The undisciplined man moves only when he's inspired. The disciplined man moves regardless of how he feels. And that's why he wins. You can take a risk today. Start a business, change your body, chase a dream. But the risk itself doesn't guarantee success. What guarantees success is your ability to show up every day and refine your craft. Discipline is what keeps you on track when failure hits. It's what makes sure your risk doesn't end in regret. Because risk without discipline is just recklessness. It's throwing yourself into battle without a sword. But when you combine risk with discipline, you become unstoppable. You turn chaos into control. You turn fear into fuel. You turn every setback into strategy. Discipline is not glamorous. It's not fun. It's not exciting. That's why most people avoid it. But that's also why most people stay average. Because discipline demands that you say no to the world and yes to your vision. It demands that you control your emotions, your impulses, your desires. It teaches you that progress doesn't come from doing what you want. It comes from doing what's necessary. Discipline is self-respect in motion. It's the art of keeping promises to yourself. When you say you'll do something and you do it, you're telling your mind that your word matters. And that's how confidence, strength, and power are built. Think about this. Every great man you admire, every icon who changed the world, they all had one common trait: ruthless discipline. They didn't rely on motivation, they built systems. They didn't wait to feel inspired, they created habits. They turned their lives into routines of excellence. Because discipline doesn't care how you feel, it only cares about results. You can be tired, angry, heartbroken, exhausted, and still perform. That's the beauty of discipline. It liberates you from your emotions. It makes you unstoppable. The reason most people fail isn't because they lack talent. It's because they lack consistency. They start strong and fade the moment things get hard. They take the risk, but they don't stay long enough to see it through. Discipline ensures that your risk compounds over time. It makes sure that every step forward adds up to something meaningful. It's the reason why a man can go from nothing to everything, because he decided to stay consistent long after everyone else quit. Discipline is brutal honesty. It doesn't allow excuses. It doesn't negotiate with laziness. It doesn't care if you're tired or busy. It's a code, a lifestyle. When you master discipline, you control time. You bend it in your favor. You do in 1 year what others can't do in 10, because you're not wasting energy on distractions, doubts, or delays. You're focused. You're intentional. You're locked in. Every day you wake up, you have two choices: comfort or discipline. Comfort feels good now, but costs you later. Discipline feels tough now, but pays you forever. And the crazy part, the more disciplined you become, the freer you feel. Because discipline gives you control over your body, your mind, your habits, your destiny. The man without discipline is a slave to impulse. The man with discipline owns himself. When you're disciplined, risk becomes your ally. You can step into uncertainty knowing you'll adapt, knowing you'll endure. You stop fearing failure because you know you'll outwork it. That's what makes disciplined men unstoppable. They don't rely on luck. They rely on routine. They don't need the perfect opportunity. They create it through relentless consistency. You can take one big risk and fail, or you can take small, disciplined risks every day and build a life that never collapses. Because discipline isn't just a skill, it's armor. It protects your focus, your energy, your dreams. It turns chaos into control and control into power. Every rep, every repetition, every hard decision. Discipline is what transforms it all into victory. The man who masters it doesn't wait for results. He becomes the result. One day you'll wake up and the mirror won't lie to you anymore. You'll look into your own eyes and see the truth. You had chances, you had moments, you had opportunities, but you let them pass because you were scared. You'll realize the most painful thing in life isn't losing. It's knowing you never even tried. Regret is the slowest, deepest kind of death. It doesn't hit all at once. It eats at you silently, piece by piece. Every time you think about what could have been, you can recover from failure, you can rebuild after loss, but you can never escape regret. That's why regret is the real failure. You tell yourself you'll start tomorrow. You tell yourself there's still time. But tomorrow turns into next week into next year, and next year into never. That's how men die with their dreams still trapped inside them. You think you have time. You don't. Every moment you delay, life moves on without you. Every second you hesitate, someone else is taking the chance you're afraid to take. And one day, you'll see that person living the life you wanted. That's when regret hits. Not because they were lucky, but because they were bold when you were cautious. The truth is, you can't avoid pain in life. You'll either face the pain of discipline now or the pain of regret later. But the pain of regret is far worse because it never leaves. Discipline hurts in the moment, but regret haunts you forever. When you fail, you can learn. When you lose, you can rebuild. But when you live with regret, you can't fix it. It's permanent. It's the ghost that follows you, whispering, "What if?" every time you close your eyes. And that's a punishment no man should accept willingly. The reason most men never risk is because they fear failure. But failure is never the end. It's the beginning. Every successful man has failed more times than most people have even tried. Failure builds you, it teaches you, it strengthens your character. Regret destroys you because it leaves you with nothing. No lesson, no experience, just emptiness. You can fail 1,000 times and still rise, but you can't regret 1,000 times and still move forward. Regret traps you in the past. It chains you to moments you can't change. Think about it. Every man who ever did something great started by doing something that scared him. They risked looking stupid, they risked losing, they risked being wrong. But at least they risked, because the alternative is worse. The alternative is sitting in silence years later, realizing you let fear dictate your entire life. The alternative is watching someone else live the life you dreamed of because you lacked the courage to chase it. That's the price of playing it safe. You don't just lose the opportunity. You lose yourself. One day, you'll reach an age where you start remembering more than you dream. You'll look back and think about all the times you said, "Not now." And every "not now" will echo in your mind like a scream. You'll realize how much of your life you spent waiting for a moment that never arrived. That's the curse of regret. It doesn't come immediately. It waits until it's too late. Until you can't go back, until you're forced to live with the consequences of inaction. You don't want to be that man, the one who talks about what he could have done, what he should have done, what he almost did. You want to be the man who did, the one who tried, failed, learned, and built something from it. Because the man who tried, even if he lost, still owns his story. But the man who never tried, he doesn't own anything. He's just a spectator in his own life. People fear risk because they think it might cost them everything. But the truth is, not risking costs you even more. It costs you time, opportunity, and pride. It costs you the version of yourself that you could have become. You'll never know how strong, smart, or capable you really are if you never test yourself. You'll never know how far you could have gone if you never took the first step. And that's the cruelest part of regret. It's not just the memory of missed chances. It's the realization that you'll never know who you could have been if you had the courage to try. You see, every day you wake up, you're writing a story. And one day, that story ends. The question is, when that day comes, will you be proud of what you wrote? Or will you wish you had written something different? Regret is not something that happens to you. It's something you create by refusing to act. You don't need guarantees. You don't need perfection. You just need the guts to start. Because in the end, the only thing worse than failure is the thought of what might have happened if you had been brave enough to take the risk. At the end of it all, life rewards the men who move, not the ones who wait. Every risk you take, every moment you step into the unknown, every decision that scares you, that's what builds the man you were meant to become. Playing it safe might protect your comfort, but it will never protect your legacy. The rich, the powerful, the respected, they all share one trait. They took the risk when others hesitated. They didn't wait for certainty, they created it through action. Because courage is not about having no fear, it's about acting despite it. You have one life, one chance to write a story worth remembering. And that story will never be written from a place of hesitation. It will be written in blood, sweat, failure, and relentless effort. Be the man who dares. Be the man who bets on himself. Be the man who takes the risk when everyone else runs from it. Because even if you fall, at least you fall forward. At least you tried, and that's the difference between those who live with purpose and those who live with regret. The world doesn't remember the ones who stayed comfortable. It remembers the ones who took the leap and made history. So stand tall, face the storm, and take the risk. Because the man you dream of becoming is waiting for you on the other side of fear.